Joe Concha is joining me now to react. Okay, so Joe, how come the media and seemingly Justin Trudeau, they only agree with protest if it aligns with what they think? In particular, you can revert back to those 2020 BLM protests.
Yeah, because of their disdain for, working class people like truckers. And cult, actually, Ashley, is a very, relatively benign term when compared to other words used to describe these striking truck drivers in Canada. We've seen racist used. We've seen domestic terrorist used to describe these folks. And this comes from the same critics who support Black Lives Matter and all those mostly peaceful riots during the summer of 2020. One factual note that sums this up. The Ottawa chief of police reported 0 arrests over the weekend at these protests. Another factual note. Truckers are probably the most isolated people on the planet. It's literally a job carried out in quarantine. There is no logic being applied here. It's all about the prime minister expanding his power and the American media actually cheering it on.
And then let's get to this now. Meantime, Whoopi Goldberg is facing a lot of outrage for this comment she made. Listen.
All right.
Let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. It's about man's inhumanity to man.
Wow. Okay, so an estimated 6 million Jewish people were completely eliminated by Adolf Hitler. Where did she think that this comment would not garner criticism?
Oh, there is even more to that. Believe me. Whoopi also said, this is white people doing it to white people. So this is you all go fight amongst yourselves. This is what she said about the Holocaust. I mean, on a program where some of the most insipid things on television are reliably said on a daily basis, this one from Whoopi wins the gold medal. Let's be blunt. This is anti-Semitism in broad daylight. This isn't about race, she says. That was Hitler's entire insane, insidious argument, that Jews are an inferior race, the Germanic people are superior, and therefore that justified genocide. And as you said, 6 million people systematically murdered. Whoopi Goldberg probably studied the Holocaust by seeing Schindler's List 30 years ago. And she apologized yesterday, but she did it in a written statement. I want to see her do it on the air today as well. You make the comment on The View, you make the apology on The View. And by the way, and I'll leave it here on this note, in a related story, The View, 25 years it's been on the air. It has had dozens upon dozens of co-hosts. It's had exactly 2 Jewish co-hosts and none in the past 6 years. That's pretty telling.
It really is. And now to our final topic for the day. The New York Times is getting criticized for its delayed interest in crime plaguing cities like New York, saying, quote, make the city safer without reverting to the over-policing, especially in Black and Latino communities seen under previous mayors. So in this editorial, the board actually proposed solutions that included more funding for the community, the anti-violence groups. And, they've also pushed this community policing and wanting people like social workers to respond to domestic violence calls. And if you revert back to a little less than 2 weeks ago, 2 of our NYPD officers were shot and killed responding to a domestic violence call. So do you really think that this notion of less police and more of the community get involved, do you think they really want to get involved with this after they're seeing what's happening?
It's a great point, Ashley. And lazy is the perfect word to describe these editorials. It's the exact argument behind defunding the police. Take money from police departments and adding police officers, instead put it into community activists that are going to help handle this problem instead. And look, it's refund the police. That's what the headline should be. Obviously, this is the result of $1 billion being taken from the New York City Police Department to officers killed. Not just New York, by the way. We're seeing it across the country. 25 police officers shot already this year, and we're just 1 day into February. So the media not doing their job here. As far as, I'm not saying they have to take a side and take an argument, but it's a very logical thing to say that when you take police away from a community, that more crime is going to happen. And yet the editorial board of the New York Times, living in the elite bubble that they do, probably in very good neighborhoods in New York, they're tone deaf to this issue, and it clearly shows, Ashley. Anyway, rapid fire is over. You did a great job. I think we fit this all in a very short period of time.
Well, I do want to say just one final comment when it comes back to the communities, the Black and Latino communities saying they don't want policing. We had people on our network saying after that little girl, that 1-year-old girl, she had just turned 1 actually, when she was in the hospital and she got shot in the Bronx, saying we need police in our communities, help us. So they are begging for help. Joe Concha, thanks so much.
And poll after poll, Ashley, poll after poll says that as well. So that's not just an isolated anecdote. That is the American people in general, and particularly blacks and Latinos saying more police, not less police. You're exactly right. Got to go. Thank you so much.
Thanks.